Hi everybody, I'm joined by Az and Leo from Mythic Games, and we're of course here to talk about Reichbusters.
Yes.
Time for a bit of an update?
Oh, a big update, man. It's Pledge Manager time, late pledge time. We've got a bunch of stuff to add, so we had to come visit you and actually have some fun, didn't we?
Yeah, of course. And we believe after, sort of kind of maybe, we should have a game sitting out there?
Yes, we'll have a full brand new Let's Play. That. It's on the Beast of War channel already at this stage, so if you haven't seen the Let's Play where we take on this big boy, who we'll get to a bit later.
Yeah.
We take on this big boy, Project X. We have a full Let's Play where we brought Warren back and gave him more explosives than last time, which was...
Yeah, I have to say, now, this is something I wonder. We saw him with explosives last time, and you gave him Botchka.
Yeah, we had to give him someone who we thought would really match his playstyle again. So we gave him a guy who literally carries an explosive barrel everywhere he goes and straps grenades to his limbs. And Botchka felt very Warren to us.
Yeah.
So two Russians in the team.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't seen that Let's Play, like definitely go and check it out. It was immense fun. Hard.
We've never done that type of Let's Play yet. Get a kill, take a shot.
But yeah, essentially, so for us, this is kind of like almost like a second campaign. So like it's the 30th of January, the Pledge Manager is officially open.
Yeah.
So now you can go on and kind of get all your Pledge Manager stuff if you backed, and if you haven't backed, you can come and late pledge. And whether you backed or not, there's a bunch of new stuff on there as well. So we wanted to come and chat to you about what's happened with the game since we were last here, all the changes, all the feedback.
Yeah, there've been quite a lot of changes.
There have been.
Because people are playtesting this game every day. We have game developers playing Reichbusters over and over again. And so the game has really improved a lot since we brought it to Kickstarter.
Yeah. One thing I noticed that the guys from Mythic and the Mythic team always do, you actually come out with games with gorgeous artwork, a world that you can just dive straight into, and the game system, even though it needed fine-tuning, you still had the core of it, that kernel that makes a great game.
Yeah.
And I think whenever you actually take and show it to your community and then start grinding off those rough edges, seeing where they want things tightened up, that's where you're going to get games that people are going to play for years.
Yeah, that's absolutely the hope.
That's the goal, really. We want the people to play our games. We don't want just them to have the excitement of having them, discovering them playing one game and then thinking of the other ones. We want them to play them for years. That's exactly it.
Yeah, but I mean, like the way you've created it, you've got the complete game system in one shot without the Kickstarter win.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, how many characters did you guys unlock?
17 different heroes. First of all, we got 2. We have, not including Project X himself, we have 6 different Vril Meisters too. A huge number of maps, objectives, and factions for our raid mode. So essentially, whenever you're playing the campaign, you can follow along with the story. Whenever you're playing the raid mode, you can combine these different maps, different objectives, and different factions in any way you want, or randomize it in any way you want to give yourself a unique experience every single time you play.
Can you imagine the number of combinations as a starting team you can have with 17? I know I don't do the math, but I know that's a lot.
Yeah. Well,
so that means every time you want to replay something, you will have a very different feeling depending on the heroes you start with.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like that's the great thing of it is that replayability. I mean, like if you change a Vril Meister, you've got a completely different game. If you start tweaking and changing who's in your team, you're going to have a very different play experience. So there are zero limitations to how many different ways you can play this.
It's great fun. Yeah.
I am curious to see what people come up with as their dream team to take on like Project X.
It's funny, you have this weird conversation when we play test in the UK office. I particularly love Team Falcon, Team Kestrel, these more stealthy, sneaky, the ones who want to get in but then will struggle against the heavy armored guys, the Sturmsoldats, the Vril Panzers, these big tough targets. But I like spending more time investigating, picking up items and working your way through dealing with what you can find and relying on your skill, whereas other guys in the office far prefer the likes of Team Harrier, who we played with in the Project X Let's Play, who are literally on their quote, it says, these are the guys who care not about stealth, they're the guys when the brown gooey stuff hits the spinny blade in the ceiling, they're the guys you want, and they burst the door in and they go hard from the get-go.
I like a Harrier team with Brick, Hans, Boschke, and who could be very loud too?
Yeah, this is the thing.
Maybe Bjorn.
Yeah, that's it. Someone that Bjorn is. It's funny because the narrative of the game, as we explored all the heroes and have developed them, is really cool. Because Bjorn is naturally very loud because he's a screaming Viking, whereas but he can be quiet if you want to play him that way. And whereas other guys like Hans, who walks in with a Panzerschreck, once he fires that, he doesn't really have a choice.
Yeah. It's something that's very interesting. I mean, like sometimes you're going to want this game just to play out like a John Woo movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All action all the time.
Yeah, just diving for cover, shooting stuff. Oh crap! Like 5 Nazis just ran through the door, kill them quick before they actually take away turns from us.
And that's it. Do we have to deal them quietly or loud? And you have that discussion.
But even when you do so, you still have to think and to make the right choices and the right combinations with the cards you have available and with what your partners can do. So that's always challenging.
So we have a little look at some of the heroes we got to. I mean,
Pledge Manager, obviously, this is coming.
Yeah. So launch on January 30th. So you can go there right now, whether you backed it initially or whether you want to pick it up as a late pledge. You can go. Everything is still available that was there in the Kickstarter, plus a lot of new things that we'll kind of talk about a bit later and say that the new additional. Some of it's nice kind of aesthetic stuff, and some of it's really tasty and meaty. So this is where we started way back when we interviewed you guys months ago. Yeah. We had the core heroes under attack by the core units of the Vril Meisters. We had 5 heroes to begin with: Brick, Sarge, Quentin, Claudine, and Red Hot, and now this is a roster of heroes. And this is the thing, right?
Can you name them all?
I actually knew he was going to do this, and I tried to mentally prepare it. Right, top left to right. Okay, so we got the American Sarge, we got the Brit with the bow Quentin, we got the Russian sniper Red Hawk, we got the Brit. Sorry guys, we got Claudine, so that's our core heroes we started with. Then middle left, we got Bochka, the Russian engineer. We got Tane, the Maori warrior. We've got Bjorn, our Norwegian berserker. We've then got Flamin' Joe, our pyro. We've got Irina, the Polish dual pistol, silence pistol wielding assassin. We have Cool Beer, our Gurkha. He was a fantastic entry. The community loved him. Bottom left then we have Remy. He's our Dutch spy, espionage turncoat. He's dressed in the actual enemy's uniform. We then have O'Reilly, the captured Irish hero, who's infused with Vril right in because he's been experimented on and broken out from his own campaign mission. We then have Prof, our scientist. She's all about gas grenades. We'll talk about her later, actually. We've got Brad, our GI, Doc, our French, what's the term I'm looking for? He's a legionnaire. There we go. And then finally Hans, another one of our turncoats. He's our German tank hunter who's joined the Reichbusters to fight against the Vril Meisters.
There's nothing subtle about rocking into one of these missions carrying a Panzerfaust.
Not even remotely. The cool thing about this is that whenever you start the mission, you could not be more different from the player sitting next to you, because your hero deck is chalk and cheese. Everyone has their own playstyle, their own little puns and quirks and their own little abilities. It's not like saying you're a ranger, I'm a warrior, we both got the same stats and it's just a shield or a bow that gives me an extra dice. That's not what it is. We've got Tane, the Maori warrior. He's all about doing the haka, being loud, distracting, taunting, pulling threats towards him. And then Irina, who's super stealthy. She loves picking off multiple enemies, like John Wick style, taking out a couple of guys with their pistols. Silence. They're very, very different, and that makes the gameplay so much fun.
You could have a full female hero team.
Yes, absolutely.
The one I'm dying to play though is O'Reilly.
Really? Yeah. Irish guy.
It's not even that he's Irish. It's just look at the rage and the insanity in that face.
If you had been captured and experimented on by the Vril Meisters, I'm pretty sure you would not be best pleased.
Shaving that guy's head, I'd give him a goatee.
So here, if you have a look, this is a quick snapshot of all the renders of the guys. We're going to show a bunch of these off, obviously, but we wanted to really have a diverse cast. We wanted to represent a lot of the allied nations, so you do have France, America, Canada, you've got the Gurkhas, you've got Irish, you've got Norwegian. We're going to obviously hope to do many more in the future.
We have reworked some of them. You see, for instance, Brick, we have changed a little bit of his proportion. All of the minis will have textured bases and unique textured bases. We've also rescaled them, so they are now really 32 millimeter. So it's and we keep on reworking them for the plastic version, so we want the plastic minis to be just perfect, which means sometimes the weapons have to be enlarged, sometimes small details are changed, but in the end what you see is what you get.
Yeah, I have to say, for each of the characters, you've really captured just the spirit of the character. So I mean, like I'm looking at the Maori warrior just running the thumb across
that's
the
it, isn't
neck.
it?
You've got Brick just standing there being a badass with the ever important grenade.
Yeah.
You've got O'Reilly, and he does look like he's just going off on one,
He's
ready
just
to tear through stuff.
He's just grabbed whatever he could to try and break out. Like he's not equipped with the latest allies. He's just grabbed himself a couple of hammers and he's battering his way out that facility.
And I love how nonchalant Botchka looks. 'Cause he's just sitting on the barrel going, "I get paid for this vodka."
Botchka is what I think he was a real divisive sculpt with our community. Some loved him, some were like, "Oh, why is he not action?" When you see his cards and you see him in action,
favorite one.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it depends.
When
but
you
it's
actually
true.
play with him in the game,
Oh, yeah.
his character and how he is there really comes through. Because some of his cards, he's being quite lazy, he's drawing stuff, and other times he's chucking his barrel, running away, and detonating it. Or he's sitting on his barrel, and he's right, comrades, let's go, and he just tells everybody to run forward as he's sitting back. You know, he's really flavorful.
The one thing I really enjoyed with what the game developers did is that they took the image and it inspired them some of the special powers that they gave them. Like, for instance, the Maori doing his haka. Well, this is some part of what he can do in the game. The barrel for Boschka. This is in his powers, you know. Everything was really interpreted by the developers and is in the game.
And the puns.
Faith and the puns,
All
yes.
the puns.
We do love Lenin a hand and Stalin for time with Botchka and Hans. Well, actually, do you know what? I think we've got Hans. We can have a wee chat about him.
Yeah.
Because last time we were here, we talked about the core heroes and some of the stretch goals, but we didn't show everything. So we have a beautiful Hans painted by the one and only Seb Levine.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Now,
Seb.
I'm going to say this in the most gentle, positive, supportive way possible. Seb, if you're watching this, buddy, I hate you. The very core of my soul, I hate you because your talent is just insane. I mean, like, the sculpt that has been done on this is gorgeous, and then Seb has just came along and just
Look at
went,
the face.
It's the
I am
5
going
o'clock
to-
shadow. It's the tones of the face and the structure of the cheekbones. He's captured that kind of grizzled, determined, steely kind of look right from the art that we had Catalan Lartiste produce. He's captured it
He's
wonderfully.
always working with the art next to him when he paints.
So Hans, you know, as you can see, he's kind of an all or nothing guy. He does have his Panzerfaust, and he also has his Luger. So you're kind of dealing. He can go fist to fist. He can go unarmed in battle, but really he's kind of trying to work his way through, trying to be guided by the other players to ensure that when he loses that, he's going to take down targets. He's a single target killer.
He's a German who didn't
like what the Vril Meisters were doing, essentially. He went against the experimentations, and he decided that he actually needed to support the Reichbusters and bringing them down. So he kind of knew a little bit more than the Reichbusters at the start. He knew the likes of the Vril Panzer, Project X, so he had no problem going in and saying...
I'm guessing this is why he grabbed the Panzerfaust, because he knew he'd have to deal with them. He's just like, yeah, that's fine, Sarge. You take your Thompson submachine gun. I'm going to have one of these.
Yeah, I know, because we did decide that we would give him a Thompson, because of course he's going to be joining the Allies and needs some weapons from him. So on the scope, we said, no, he needs some representation of the fact that he's come to the Reichbusters, but he's holding true to the weapons he's familiar with when it comes to the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if things go sideways, you know, he could always grab a Thompson at some point.
Absolutely.
Because the way you actually have the characters laid out, you could trade the weapons out if you want to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
a very interesting thing to do with some of the different abilities with different weapons.
Yeah, and again, that's where the campaign really comes alive, because whenever you're going through the story, you're going to be getting new abilities and new skills. Your characters will be changing and evolving. If you play the raid mode, if you're not doing the campaign, if it's just a single setup, your team card will define what's available to you. So if you're going Team Falcon, they'll be more stealthy focused. If you're going Team Harrier, it'll be things like grenades, and it'll be things like extra ammo and armor piercing effects, because they go hard.
Yeah, but even as a house rule, I mean, like, if a team's coming together and I'm looking at, say, Hans and Sarge are together, give Sarge the Panzerfaust, give Hans the Thompson, and see how it would play.
That would be epic fun. And the cool thing is, the cards and that effect would change it a lot, because all the decks are unique for each hero.
Exactly.
So you'd have a very different feeling to the playstyle if you start house rolling that kind of stuff.
Well, it's just something that instantly jumped out at me because it's done individually and you're building it onto those dashboards that you guys are doing. you could do it so easily,
Yeah.
and it could make for some very interesting, like, homebrew games.
Yeah. Oh, and do you know what? There's a lot of potential for that
Yeah.
kind of homebrew stuff. Even outside of the raids and campaigns, if you start making up your own teams, it's going to be super fun.
Yeah.
Our own factions to rub against. Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure some people will come up with playing the enemies, even though it's not something we wanted to do, because we clearly wanted to represent them as the bad guys.
Yeah.
We know some fans will
Absolutely.
will do
Yeah.
that.
For me, I love the way you've engineered the game, though, that it is the game versus you, and the
Yeah.
game doesn't take it easy on you.
No.
Oh no, it's hard.
It's
hard.
something you find whenever you've got a well-programmed AI built into a board game. It can sometimes be more vicious than any player you have ever played against.
The best thing I love about the AI in Reichbusters is that essentially, if something goes wrong, it is your fault. It wasn't because the game randomly drew something terrible, like out of a deck that just kind of ruined your mission. It's because you made some noise, or you burst into a room, or you let hands open a door.
Yeah, or you picked up an item that was, in amongst a ton of alarm clocks.
You always have to make a decision. Is it worth the risk?
That's it.
Yeah.
To do this noise, is it worth the risk?
We have a couple more heroes I wanted to mention briefly that we hadn't really talked about before. So this is Cool Beer.
Yeah, I'm curious about him.
Yeah, this is our Gurkha. This is our guerrilla fighter. He's really a get in, get out. Obviously, he's got quite diverse weaponry with his kukri, and he can really get in and do some vicious damage. He's got a great advantage to his playstyle that other characters don't benefit with, which is kind of moving in and out of enemy territory. Usually, when you move into a Nazi area, you have to stop. You can't keep moving through. His guerrilla fighting allows him to be far more fluid, and his positioning allows him to support guys in the game. This is actually a great point to talk about one of the new rules that we put in, actually.
Yeah, sure.
So we found when playing that the players were talking a lot about different things they could do, but we wanted to give them another way to interact and support each other. So what you can now do is, if you're in the same area as one of your allies, you can support them in attacks they're making, basically giving them extra boost to their damage, extra rerolls, extra special symbols, so that when it comes to that critical point, or whenever you have someone who's actually going to say, I'm going to tactically maneuver to your space, you can now share and make that attack when you want it really powerful.
Yeah.
And then you combine that with the likes of the team abilities. Team Harrier, as an example, says whenever you make a ranged attack, if I'm in your area, I could join along and make a ranged attack with you, and we can synchronize our fire. And that's comes the strategy with guys like Cool Beer then become much more flavorful, much more fun.
I'm loving the design that you've done for him, because you've got the traditional Gurkha knife with him. You've got now his firearm is a little odd to me. It looks like a blend between a Sten gun and a Thompson.
Yeah, I mean it's like a stem, but you're just got the sideways loading thing. I must admit I can't remember the exact model of this. Jack would probably slam me. Jack would know exactly what model it is.
We can ask John later.
John will always keep us right. It's always fantastic coming from John.
He gives us feedback and we take into consideration, and then we change.
If John signs off in a mini, I am super
he
happy.
will spot it immediately.
It's great.
Yeah.
He's like, this canister, it should have a flat bottom, not rounded. And I'm like, I love you, John. I love you so much.
When he looked at I think there was an ammo crate, one of the characters was jumping off.
Yep.
He looked at the actual...
the millimeter of the ammo, and John went, that should probably be a slightly different millimeter, because that wasn't invented until a few years later. And I was like, that's incredible knowledge, sir. And I was a bit annoyed because I didn't want to change it, because I wanted to leave the time traveling element as an open potential. But no, I was like, let's make it right. And the cool thing with Reichbusters is we want to keep it largely historically
but
accurate.
It's very pulpy too, so you can have fun with it.
It's got to be, the core of Reichbusters has got to be an adventure, a mission against all odds, and huge amounts of fun.
Yeah.
One final hero on a chat about this is Prof, man. And she was one
she's gorgeous.
We all in the office really loved, and I actually went on our Discord server and talked a lot with our community and teased little bits about her, because we had a lot of requests for special effects. Now, people were looking at what kind of extra weapons could we add in, because we have flamers, we have big explosives, we even have the likes of mines that heroes can get now and leave behind, these booby trap type things that Warren was looking for are now in the game. But what Prof opened up for us was the use of grenades and gases and elemental effects, essentially. So she specializes in stunning, dazing, smoking, incinerate. She locks down rooms and areas, suppressing Nazis, holding them in place, allowing you to either get into a room undetected, maybe get out of a room to escape, or just take out large groups of people, or large groups of enemies whenever you have to. She's an incredibly diverse character, but very light on the standard firearms. So she has to, again, she's that kind of
the
character.
Smartest in the group. Also,
She picks her moment. That is it. She's very intelligent, very much about leading and supporting the team until she can be like, right, I'll allow the infiltration, or I'll allow the get out time.
Yeah. I mean, like, even just looking at the way she's been sculpted, I love this sort of more advanced-ish looking biochem suit that she's rocking about in. Like, she looks like she works for the CDC.
Well, yes, I mean, this is exactly what we were aiming for.
And, I mean, like, again, she just looks like... the character's face actually looks a little miffed. As if she's watching Sarge going, God damn it.
Yes, she's the kind of character that is orchestrating things.
Yeah.
You know, she's kind of seeing herself a little bit above the brick who's running in and just gunning stuff down.
Yeah.
She is definitely kind of surveying the battlefield a bit more kind of methodically.
I'm very curious to see how she plays in the final game.
Yeah, she is going to be epic fun. Yeah. Epic fun.
Yeah, and whenever people are jumping in on the pledge manager, so what levels are they jumping in at? Is it the same as what they had option-wise on the Kickstarter? Or?
Yeah, essentially, so you'll be able to get the core box, as you could before, and all the expansions. So we have the Knot of the Earth expansion, we have the Doors expansion, and we also have Project X as well, who we'll chat a bit about shortly. And then we will also have an all-in bundle as well, so you can get everything as one big group. And then we have a huge amount of individual add-ons that we'll be adding into the pledge as well. So yes, everything that was available in the Kickstarter will also, again, be available there.
Good, because if I'm someone thinking of dropping into this game, I'm kind of wanting to drop in heavy and get the lot.
Absolutely.
So that I can experience everything, because that's what you guys do so well, is make complete gaming systems.
So I wanted to chat a little bit about the Vril Meisters. We've talked a lot about the heroes, but we did unlock and add in a bunch of new enemy factions to go up against. So this...
And when we unlocked one, it's just like when we unlocked a hero. It meant a lot of new gameplay.
That's it. Yes.
Because each new Vril Meister brings a new
flavor,
faction.
new faction card. Yeah, it exponentially increases the amount of different raid combinations you can have.
They each play very differently, and the experience you have when you have a different Vril Meister is real. You know, you will see different kind of units, different proportions of units also on the board. The AI will play differently.
I see. So, I mean, like, whenever you're talking about factions, there's a specific card, and does that have, like, the loadout of what forces they have access to, and does that change, you know, what the chances are of things coming out of the deck?
Let me skip forward a little bit, and actually I'll show you exactly what we're talking about here. So if I give you, here is General Wolf, and here is Gisela, and here is a zombie. So whenever you're setting up a raid, if you're not playing a campaign mission, so you're not playing one of our story and just missions, whenever you set up a raid, you do three things. First of all, you pick a Vril Meister to go up against, you pick a map from a range of maps that you want to play on, and then you pick an objective. The most important thing we'll talk about here is the faction cards that come with the Vril Meisters. The faction cards tell you, first of all, what units you'll be up against. So the likes of soldiers, the likes of automated, like the tracking bombers, the Sturm Soldats, the Sturm Gunners. The Vril Meister you play against will completely dictate what they have available in their faction. But it will also dictate how much they have. So, for example, Gisela prefers to have mutations like the 601 and the 6XX, whereas General Wolf in his mechanized chair far prefers those guys you're showing off there, the Sturm Soldats with the hammers and the guns. These are the experiments that Gisela far prefers. These are experiments 601, soldiers mutated for close combat. What is most interesting about the faction cards, though, is not only does it dictate the type of units and the amount of them, but they'll also be tweaked slightly to suit the exact play style of each Vril Meister.
Okay.
So, for example, if we look at General Wolf, who we were just showing off there, he is all about mechanized heavy armor. So he has the Sturm Soldats, the heavy mechanized units, the tracking bombers. What he also does is tweaks the base core units like the zombies and makes them tougher, stronger, more armored, because he's been spending his time researching protection, defense, thicker armor, making his stuff endure. Gisela, on the other hand, far prefers mutation, biological. She's trying to make her zombies faster, to bite harder, to work better as a synergistic group. So not only when you sit down to play a raid are you choosing different Vril Meisters, different factions, you're also going to get a completely different flavour to the core units of the game. And we have dozens of different types of enemies, and if you play against General Wolf all the time, you're only going to be seeing a slither of what the entire potential Vril Meister factions can give you.
Yeah, so this is why game nights, it's good to perhaps randomise which Vril Meister you're going to go for.
Yes, and if you want to randomise it, you're going to have to be brave, because you'll choose that map, you'll choose that objective, and you'll choose that random faction.
This sounds fun.
You know what you've got.
And then you choose your hero.
Then you choose your heroes.
And your team.
So you then say, this is what we're up against. We know what we've got. What are the 4 heroes? Or you can obviously play with less if you wish. Your 2, 3, 4 heroes. And then what's the team? What's the thing that's going to synergize our heroes together? Because that gives you your
against
skills.
this particularly a position that we have.
But again, if you really wanted, you could randomize it. You know, if you want to give yourself a real challenge, and there's so many combinations of ways you can combine the heroes and the teams together. So the depth of it. So when we go back, we say, let me bring it back up here. This was General von Eichenberg. He's one of our new Vril Meisters, who's very much focused on mutations and being a back line. He does not fight up close himself. He's really about orchestrating and leading his units.
He's
and
the first one who got heavily mutated by Vril. You know, he discovered it at his depends. He was mutated. He was the first to be mutated, and so obviously his powers will be.
His wardrobe's full of left shoes. He doesn't wear shoes on his right foot anymore.
And I'm guessing he had to get his tailor just to redo some of his clothing.
Well, really, the tailors went to work on him, but they also had to do a lot of work on this guy. If you want to have a little look at him,
yes.
This is Hugo. This is Hugo Hander. We do love our puns in Reichbusters. He's one of our not of this earth expansion Vril Meisters. He is very much getting behind he's self-mutated. He's kind of come after General Eichenberg when he's made the decision to become this brawling, throwing heroes, getting up close and dealing with them. And he has that beautiful kind of, we joke that it's kind of Hugo Boss, kind of four-arm sleeve jacket he's got on. He is a monster to deal with. Loves fighting at range, but
look,
compared to an officer.
To an officer.
Oh, yeah. I'll quickly see if I can get both of these in.
There we go.
So, yeah, there's Hugo and a teeny weeny little officer.
And then I'll give you, if you want to pop them down, I'll give you this guy over as well.
Okay.
So if you're into the more, this is where you can kind of make the options in the Pledge Manager. If you're into more of the sci-fi, the Not of This Earth expansion is one you should absolutely be looking at.
This is another Vril Meister.
This is where we bring in the alien mutation, the telepathy, the extra battlefield control. The aliens here are trying to get in and become symbiotic with the Vril Meisters, and it's where we take the battle off planet, off world.
Wow. It's weird because the cloaks and the clothing that he's wearing, it still just about feels German uniform, which is super creepy.
See, this faction has actually really embraced the aliens who naturally control Vril, and they've got acolytes who literally form almost a religious cult around Vril. So we have the scientists and the mechanized aspect, the biological aspect, but then the cultist aspect. So if the core game will give you tons, but if you like going into more of the sci-fi aspect, you've got Not of This Earth as an option.
Very cool.
Another Vril Meister we have is Heinrich Gruber. This is actually Gisela Gruber's brother, and we call him the Horde Meister.
Oh.
And the reason we call him the Horde Meister is he's got very traditional units.
Yep.
So soldiers, zombies, tracking bombers, these things that you expect to find in the kind of early campaign missions and the likes, but he has tons of them, and he is a Kickstarter exclusive. And the reason is he uses every mini essentially in the core box. So he's like 24 soldiers, he's like 24 zombies, he's just like, so all the alternate sculpts that you have, he uses them all and throws them in waves at the heroes.
Okay, so I'm taking Flaming Joe, I'm taking Brick, I'm taking
Prof
Botchka,
with her grenades.
and Prof.
Botchka's a good shout, yeah.
No, I'm thinking Brick, Flaming Joe, Botchka, and Prof.
That would be a Horde Meister battle. That would be really good. And the thing is, depending on who you take, different troops will deal with hordes better than others. Hans with his kind of single target rocket launcher would not really be doing the job. But this is where if you randomize it, you're going to have interesting missions to deal with. Yeah,
well, I mean, like, you could get Heinrich on a very tight, very dense map.
Yep. Or it would be extremely difficult, depending on the map you take and depending on the objective. For example, if you've just got to go in and plant some information and get out, maybe it's not too bad. But if you have to go and search for 3 different locations to try and find the dossier you're after, that could get really grim.
Being swarmed is usually how you lose.
This is why I'm trying to look at area control for my Reichbuster team against them.
Flaming Joe is good.
Flaming Joe would be fun in that mission. So I want to chat a little bit about, we've chatted about these guys, let me skip through this chat.
Of course. So this is Project X.
This is him. He comes in his own expansion. The monstrosity. This is kind of like an experiment gone wrong, but it's also the thing that threatens the front lines the most. If Project X makes it to the war, the Allies are done. This thing could destroy anything the Allies could throw at it.
All right, now this is a habit you guys at Mythic have.
Yeah, we
You
need the big
always do
things.
at least one huge, ridiculous, insane miniature, and this is it. And okay, so you've got the artwork here,
Yeah.
and it looks badass as all hell.
Yep.
I've got the miniature here, fully painted again by Seb. You can see the German officer beside it. So this is a standard 32mm miniature. And look at it.
Yep.
The details are gorgeous. You've got the fully textured base. You've got all kinds of flesh and blood and stuff hanging out from around all the metal. You've got the Vril canisters. And I love the way that you've actually got the armor. It looks as if they've tried to make something very much a contained mutation.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's just not managed.
It's
to hold up.
erupted out of it. That's you're right there. This was a machine essentially that one soldier was not enough to be able to contain this.
Yeah.
So they kept throwing more and more experimentations into it until finally something happened and all 4 bodies gelled together to form this massive, half biological, half mechanized monstrosity. This guy is like the nemesis. He's like the big villain. He comes in his own expansion, so with his own campaign missions and his own set of raid missions as well.
Yeah.
He is, when you want a real difficult challenge, this is the thing we fought against in the Let's Play, and it is not
It is hard as
easy.
nails.
We decided to take a very specialist team. We went with a team that we thought would have a good chance against him, and we specifically went, these 4 heroes should be able to take Project X.
Yeah.
It was still tough. Still very, very tough. And I used to think the Vril Panzers were scary, and you get 2 of them in the core box.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Vril Panzer is a pretty big miniature.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Redemptor Dreadnought,
Yeah,
Chimera
scale.
Redemptor Dreadnought scale himself. We will have a bunch of pictures as well on our Facebook page and on our Kickstarter where you can see this compared. To give the guys at home an idea of scale, Project X is basically the same size as the, oh goodness, what's the new 40k? Adeptus Titanicus.
So it would be roughly Warhound or Reaver?
Reaver, I believe. He's a little shorter. He's about 5-10 mil shorter, but bulkier by far.
Yeah.
We have some comparison photos up on our Facebook page.
I mean, like, I have to say, before I actually saw this guy, you brought in
The Shrieker as well.
the Panzer and, the Shrieker. And when I saw the Shrieker, it was just like, oh my god, that's a big beastie.
Yeah.
I then see Project X, and it's just like, oh, the Shrieker looks like his little brother.
Whenever we chat about the faction cards and what units are available, Project X's faction card includes a Vril Panzer, which means you can have a Vril Panzer and a Project X fighting you at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, we did a game off camera before we did our actual Let's Play, and we had a beautiful moment where we were stuck in the Barracks B room. If you haven't seen the Let's Play, go check it out. But from behind us, suddenly, all you hear is the doors clanking open, just boom, boom, boom. What's that? Oh, crap.
Yeah.
At which point, Bochka had to go back and go, no.
Yeah, we traditionally, because obviously anyone who doesn't know, I used to be here at Beast of War, of course, and traditionally we play a little game off camera to get used to it, and we thought we'll let you guys play it so you get familiar with all the new rules that we've brought in. But we had to finish that game because it was too exciting. We wanted to see it through to the end. See Bochka running up and putting his mechanized fist through the Vril Panzer was just epic. But yes, you'll have to watch the Let's Play yourselves to see all the different things that happened.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's absolutely insane. Now, there's one thing about the design of this that I particularly like.
Yeah, we've got some more stuff to share. This is just a piece of art by Guillaume Pongelupi I wanted to really show off, because this unit, it has a lot of special rules, and one of those is that it doesn't care at all about the other Nazi units. It charges through them, moves them out of the way, and knocks them backwards. It displaces other Nazi units like they're nothing. It also smashes through walls. It'll change the map you're playing on as you're fighting against it, meaning you rubble through walls and open up these big areas where you have to get around behind it and try and use positioning. It completely gives you a different fighting experience to the normal Vril Meisters. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, one piece of the design that I love is, you see the weld lines that you guys have sculpted in here? It kind of reminds me on the old Maus hulls that were made at the end of World War II, to actually show that this was the biggest, the baddest thing they were trying to make, and they weren't exactly sure how to do it.
Yeah, they just had to lump it together and see if it held. So yeah, these are obviously some renders which, just give you another way of seeing it without Seb's incredible paint job. There is another nice picture of it. But I think the thing that we had the most fun with,
Yes.
and from a design perspective, is this element. So this faction card for Project X is a lot of soldiers, a lot of scientists, a lot of things that are trying to push him to the front lines. Whenever the heroes come across him, it's like, we take him now or the war is going to turn. And this shows you that Project X actually comes in 5 parts. He comes with head, left and right arm, and legs, and each one of those acts as its own individual enemy with its own individual attacks. So it's like almost fighting 8 Vril Meisters, or 4 times 2. Each part of him is doubly defended as well, so you have to attack the legs once to wound it, and again to actually try and take them out. Similar for the left arm, you have to wound it once and then take it out, and if you wound it, it's going to go berserk. It's going to start fighting harder, which means you have to plan as a team when you attack it.
Yeah, not just that, it's planning to support each other as a team as well, because look at the head. If you just go directly for it, that's a 40 you need to roll on all your dice.
Nigh impossible.
Nigh on impossible, yeah. I mean, like, as you take out the arms, we actually saw that, it starts to get a little weaker.
Yeah.
But even when he's at his weakest, that 25,
it's still
big
difficult.
Numbers.
Yeah, you really have to coordinate, and that's where that new rule about supporting each other with modifiers, re-rolls, attacks. You have to coordinate with this guy.
Yeah.
You could never do a single hero against Project X.
If you're lucky and got like stupid rolls, yeah, you could.
Yeah. That's the fun of exploding dice and rolling those specials and allocating them to skills. Is that if you do defeat the odds and you really do plan it right, you could get lucky. You could. So yes,
you can't use your heroic bonuses against him.
Yeah, there's no auto wounding this guy.
No
it has to be
auto-
done honestly or not at all.
Yeah.
He interestingly always chases the last hero that wounds him as well. So he will focus. If you're the last hero to hurt him, he will focus. Now that's interesting because he's going to really charge at the one hero. But it also means the other 2 or 3 heroes can then outmaneuver him, get behind him, and look for vulnerable spots in his back. So you can kind of use that to your advantage by enraging him and trying to lead him away.
You can sort of Benny Hill it.
Yeah, well, he's fast is the problem.
He's immune to boom attacks, so you can't send him a grenade and hope it will do anything.
His shield, not his shield, sorry, his shoulder laser will hit everything in front of him. He will cleave.
Up to 10 areas away. So there's no hiding.
So what we're saying is, if you like the game, if you like what you see, and you think you'll want a challenge, you'll want something to really test your team and your cooperation, this little add-on for Project X will give you that opportunity to really test your mettle.
Yeah. I
He's a little more vulnerable from behind. If you shoot at him from a distance, you got
but isn't that
a
only his head?
+5.
Only his head.
Only his head.
Because the thing is, you just have to kill his head twice, but you just have to kill his head. That's it. You don't necessarily have to go after the other elements, but you'll make your life a little easier as he gets weaker as you take off the other parts. And obviously he dishes out less damage.
Yeah.
If you can get behind him and actually hit the Vril canisters that are core to powering him, you'll get added bonuses to his vulnerable spots. So you can get a little boost.
Well, it's a very interesting module to actually add to the game, and something that I would definitely recommend people to try, just because it's so much fun. How many times do you like just the big nasty, the challenge to see?
Yeah, this is a challenge mission. Yes, you say, okay, let's try. We know how to play the game, because I don't think the first time you play the game, you should try this mission. It's really
you should not.
But once you know the game, you could just say, okay, let's pick the 4 guys we really
the
think
dream
could.
team.
Yes, and the challenge, let's try and destroy Project X. And it's not going to be easy.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
So if you like the core box, you've got that option. If you like the more alien stuff, you've got Not of This Earth. If you like a big challenge, you've got the likes of Project X. So there's options and add-ons depending on your group and your play style.
Yeah, fabulous.
Shall we chat a bit about the Page Manager?
Of course.
Chat a bit about this lady here. So
what is this?
one thing about the Page Manager is we're adding a bunch of stuff in, but no content stuff. Everything that was available in the Kickstarter is all about gameplay, and it's all already there for everybody. But we wanted to add a bunch of nice things, and this one is one that a lot of our fan base were kind of crying out for. Yeah.
Oh, totally. People wanted when they discovered, because the way it happened, we were talking with Paolo Parente, who's often participated in our Kickstarter. You know Paolo, and we were thinking, well, what could we do? Everything is already done, so we were thinking of doing something special. And initially, it was not a mini. Initially, what we wanted him to do was to create the pinup for the Reichbusters. You know, like the 1940s for their plane. When they are sent to Germany, they come in a plane, and on that plane, on the nose of this plane, is a pinup that we asked Paolo to draw.
And this is right back from our original briefs.
Yes.
We'd always talked about how the Reichbusters were essentially being dropped behind enemy lines. They were going where no other soldier could go to complete these super dangerous missions. So this plane was always in our heads.
Yeah, it was.
You're not making the plane, are you?
We talked a little bit about it. We did. We talked about planes, and we talked about submarines, and we talked about little things, but we tried restrained. Project X is pretty big.
And so and it was supposed to be a surprise because this would be the cover of the
Cargo hold stretch
stretch goals. Yes. So he designed this beautiful pin-up, like really in the veins of what you would see back in the
101st Airborne.
If anyone knows, from Mythic Battles, when we delivered that, stretch goals often you see them just put in plain brown cardboard boxes and they sit in your shelves. We wherever possible, we far rather create a custom box with a designed piece of art for it, so all your stretch goals and everything are nicely presented on your shelf when it's there. So this was a great opportunity for that.
Oh yeah. We could talk about the way this box will be done because the cargo hold is really going to be designed very, very well so that everything fits. But the thing is, when we showed this as a stretch goal, people saw the art, of course, and they wanted it as a mini. And we said, okay, well, this wasn't planned, and we thought of how we could do that because we didn't want all our heroes were done. We didn't really want a purely we didn't really want a purely pin-up mini, but at the same time we wanted to please the people who asked for it. So the idea we came with is to have a Sally box with a mini that we did, and to use to do that as an alternate version of Sarge. So it's exactly.
So I actually have the miniature here, and putting Sarge beside the scale's perfect, but the pose it's different.
Bit more casual.
A little bit more casual, a little bit less in the middle of a firefight.
Well, I think
the details are great.
If we think about our first Let's Play where Warren played Sarge kind of those couple of months ago, I wonder what happened if we'd give him Sally instead, if it would changed his role play, because he wouldn't have been saying, I got this, let's go. He would have been a bit more sassy, maybe.
I don't know, knowing Warren, he'd still be pretty gung-ho.
Yeah, I think so. So, yes, as just as Leo was saying, this is not going to add new gameplay, it's just giving you beautiful new cards, beautiful new art, its own little custom box with this unique mini, just to really embrace the people that asked for this Paolo art to be turned into something for the game.
Yeah. See, for me, this is one of the great strengths you guys are going to have with Reichbusters, is if you're ever looking to do expansions in the future, it can just be, here is a new Reichbuster.
We have a lot of allied nations that we haven't included yet, and we have heard a lot of requests. We didn't ignore them. There's only so many that we really wanted to put in.
It's not finished. This is season 1, and we will do other things with Reichbusters. So we have plenty of other opportunities to expand the world.
Yeah, I mean, like this, I love the idea of it. I love having alternate sculpts for things, just because it's another chance to paint beautiful miniatures. And like you said, it could give you that chance to maybe role play it slightly differently because you're seeing what you would consider a different character.
With 2 Sarge.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that could get brutal. Oh, that would be interesting.
With Sarge and Sally, if you wanted, or again an all-female hero team.
Yeah, again, absolutely, it gives you an extra hero for that.
Yeah.
So that'll be, if this is something that we didn't really have time to do it during the Kickstarter because it was a reactionary thing, but we wanted to add it in the Pledge Manager. So hopefully the people that backed and new people come along and pick it up.
Yeah, but that's something lovely that you guys do.
Yeah, this is really for the Pledge Manager. Yeah. This is something for the fans. Yeah. Which will look cool. We will paint her. We will have her painted.
Of course.
And that's a great paint. Oh, that's a great sculpt, I mean. Yep. And yeah, I think Paolo did a really, really good job because it's not... this pinup is quite,
it's not over the top.
Not over the top. That's what. Yeah, exactly. It's just the right balance.
Yeah. Very nice.
So we're a bunch more other kind of add-ons as well. This one it's pretty
Dice.
simple. Extra dice.
Yep.
Whenever you get into the big missions, if you're going to be taking on like Project X, these make things a little bit easier. That's just an optional add-on if everyone wants them. They're very pretty. I can't wait to have the final.
Always good to have more dice.
Yeah.
Not to share them with your...
Yeah. No dice for you. They're mine. They're my dice. We're going to be doing as well a dice tray. That's something that we had. Because it's such a dice-focused game, you're exploding dice, you're manipulating, you're adding dice cards in. They're quite important. So for this, we did decide that a tray, rather than a tower or anything, that was actually most... Because a lot of times you're manipulating the dice and working with them on your attack. So that seemed like a no-brainer for us.
Is it going to be this solid wall variant?
We're still kind of looking at a couple of options now. So we'll kind of, on the pledge manager itself, you'll find the final details. Because we tried a few different things out. We're actually rolling dice into trays. We looked at some different companies in the UK and China and Europe as well, to see what options suit best. So
this is nice because it doesn't take much space and it's very convenient. And
well, it's one of those things. You can fold it down; it'll sit flat into the box.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of having the solid wall design because after you've rolled your first set, you can just stack them off to one side and roll, and there's less chance of them getting knocked.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
actually changing facing.
Yeah. Then we also have the Sally enamel pin. This is going to be something that's going to be... This is a real treasure, to be honest with you. We are really wanting to focus on little things that our community are into and listening to the requests from previous campaigns. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. I've backed many Kickstarters, and when I've had them delivered, I've picked up the pins. I've got so many root pins and so many little Kickstarter pins that I love. We have our Mythic Day pins from last year. Yeah. I'm a bit of an enamel pin guy. I'm not going to lie to you.
Dude, you see me whenever I go to a con. I have the lanyard and it's just filled with every pin.
And your neck is like this. It's taken in. So for us, we thought, you know what, we want to embrace this time. We're looking at something. When we think about the Reichbusters, we think about them, having something that shows they're all part of that team. So this little optional extra will show that you're a fan of it. We quite like this.
Yes.
So this is Sally, right?
Yes, Sergeant Sally.
I don't know how the name came. I think
it was comments whenever we first shared the teaser, whenever the campaign was coming to an end. We showed a little clip of the render because at that point we were in the middle of working on. We had about 3 days before the end of the campaign. We had the reaction to the cargo hold stretch goal box. The reaction to the art was fantastic. We started immediately working on the render, but we only had a little teaser for the end, and the comments went wild. We mentioned a little bit about what we were thinking about doing with her, and loads of name suggestions started coming in. And I can't remember, unfortunately, the name of the person that said it. But they were conversing with our UK team, and it seemed that Sally was just the one that stuck.
Yes.
She was an alternate to Sarge, Sally, Sergeant Sally, and we just went, you know what? That's
Sally.
perfect.
Yeah.
That is perfect. So that's another little optional thing. This is big.
That's news.
Yes. So alongside, kind of aesthetic things that are going to just really help you, indulge yourself into the Reichbusters world, we also wanted to put in some utility stuff. So what we have here is we've struck up a deal with the Army Painter. Big fans, obviously, of everything they do. And we're going to be doing a box of custom chosen paints. Seb Levine is working with the Army Painter team to pick out the paints that will be best used for painting your entire Reichbusters range. So he's going to have a full box, and we've done a custom alternate sculpt of Red Hawk. So we have Red Hawk just in front of Project X there, where she's battle ready, she's got the sniper rifle up, and she's good to go. She's a character that we've had for a long time. She was one of our first pieces of art we ever did for the game. One of the first ones we ever showed in our teasers, and we thought she would be fantastic to have this alternate, more kind of custom pose.
Yeah. Honestly, this is one that I'm kind of looking at going, must have right now. Now, I assume the box here is just a mock-up.
It is at the moment, yes, that's right.
Yes, it's a mock-up, and as you said, Seb has been doing a big job of choosing, because we're working with Army Painter. They send us, how you call that, all the colors.
Yeah, like a
palette.
SWAT, that's it.
Yeah, and he chose each paint color personally to make sure he could paint them the way he wanted.
And then this paint set, is it so that from this one box you can paint the entirety of your Reichbusters?
That's it. It's going to encompass everything. So you get a full range. Obviously, if you want to get right into super minute details, you might want to pick up a couple of extra. But we'll have the full set. Is it 12 paints? You keep
it's
me right.
12 paint.
Plus
so
a brush.
It's not 10, plus a brush.
Plus a mini, plus a little mini guide as well.
Yes, plus a mini guide. So step by step, he will show how to paint Red Hawk.
Yeah.
And then we will have pictures of some other units with the colors that you should use. So, of course, it's more for beginners than for,
Yeah, people who really know what they're
like
doing.
good painters, people who are used to painting. But it's something new, and I think it's nice to see if people like that, because we try to do some new things with our pledge manager, and this is a new opportunity, and I think an interesting new product.
I like the idea of this because it answers a question that I sometimes have for whenever I'm looking to drop into a game. It's do I enjoy painting the miniatures?
Yeah.
I've had it recently where I dropped into a game I hadn't played for years, and it was just like, okay, is there a set I can pick up where I can test paint some miniatures and see if I still find it fun?
Absolutely.
And that's a great thing to have.
Yeah. I mean, our hope is that we obviously make board games. You know, our games, that is what they are, traditional, but we want our miniatures to be of the highest possible quality. We want to give the options for people who do want to paint them, ways to get into it and indulge it. And now that we have Seb full time with us, we'd love to start releasing more content and tutorials with Joan of Arc, of course. We really wanted to have that content in there as well, just like we had with Mythic Battles. So you can see exactly how to paint them in the styles that we would recommend if you need guidance or into that kind of thing. So board games, but with the quality and consistency and style of miniature games, we want that prestige. You know?
Yeah, that and working alongside the Army Painter guys, they're
it's
really
great.
talented with what they're doing.
Fantastic team.
Really stuff.
They're great. They're great.
We've also got, this is a nice simple one, just like the dice, we have card sleeves. We're going to have a card sleeve bundle, so it'll just be one option where you get all your portrait standard poker size, all your mini size, and also your kind of slightly larger tarot kind of size for your faction cards.
And the very exact number you need.
Yeah, so
I see.
And that's just something that we like giving as an optional extra. It's quite popular, actually. A lot of people, because it just means you don't have to go and buy lots of packs yourself. We just give you the number for the set.
Yeah, you still make...
It's a good way of purchasing it, realistically.
Well, it's something I always find. Whenever I get a new board game, I do like sleeving all my cards, because it makes the play experience a little nicer. Instead of working with raw cards, having it in the sleeve, you know, shuffling becomes easier, drawing becomes easier.
True.
Yeah, we're big fans of it too, and anytime we can realistically offer it, we always do attempt to.
Yeah. And we make sure that it fits in the box sleeve
as well.
Yeah.
This is currently just a prototype example. This is not final, but we are going to be having a play map for the game as well. So we're going to be having a nice, similar to Solomon Kane, where we had a nice big 90 centimeter by 120 centimeter
big
neoprene stitched edge, gorgeous quality play mat. So if you really want to have that nice experience, if you want to have somewhere for your tiles to sit nice and well, we're going to have that option on the Pledge Manager as well. Another optional aesthetic extra that kind of adds that bit of flair if you like it.
Again, it's what I love about the neoprene stuff these days is you lay it down on your gaming table, and even if you're playing a board game, I mean, like there's one we got as like a wood panel effect that we use for a lot of our board game Let's Plays. Having that instead of just a blank table, it makes it feel nicer.
It's crazy the difference. It really it sets a real mood when because you spend all the time looking down. It does set the tone. So yes, we're going to be having something a bit dark, focusing on the bunkers, focusing on the depths of the castle. And as I say, this is still just a prototype. We'll share the final one on the Pledge Manager.
Yeah, sure. Very cool.
This is something just for you guys, and just for Beasts of War.
I've been biting my enough to try to not say this one and spill the beans. So,
obviously, I mean, I mentioned the minis, and we're big in our art, and we're big in the kind of style of the stuff we do. We want to start giving back as much as we can to the community. So we were having a little talk and said, what's something that the Beast of War community, the on-tabletop guys, would really, really value? Yep. We talked about posters and about copies of the game. We talked about different things, but we thought, no, this is a one-of-a-kind. There is no other in the world. Pretty much the first mini I think that was really properly painted, Sarge, by Seb Levine, that we're going to leave this very one, to be given away to one of the Beast of War community, as you guys see fit.
Okay, I'm going to say this now. I'm going to let Sam pack this one. Because if this goes into the post and doesn't arrive in mint condition, I am going to be a very sad panda.
This really is a one-of-a-kind kind of unique piece that we thought hopefully somebody out there will comment on the video, or you guys can decide obviously how you want to give it away, but they'll really value it.
Comments on the video is absolutely fine. I would say comments on beastofwar.com or on tabletop.com for the winner of this one. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, come across to the main website, create yourself a free account and get a comment in here. And one person that's going to get to take this away, we're going to I'm going to be sad to see him go, I'm not going to lie. You actually, because we take these minis to conventions, in fact this Sarge is very well travelled. He's been to Gen Con. He's been to Essen. Was he at Cannes last year? No, he was a little oh no, he might have been at Cannes last year actually. He's been continentally. He's been at UK Games I need
Expo.
To get Seb just to paint up a little passport for him.
He's really well travelled and he's been kept really nice. So for us, whenever we're putting them out and displaying them, we do get a bit of a connection to them. And for me, it's and I think about as nice a thing as we could kind of offer people who are fans of what you guys do, and we love coming here.
Again, there's nothing better than getting an exclusive thing that no one else in the world will ever have like that. You know, it's something that you'll pop into your display case and you'll go, "Yup, I got that."
Well, I hope whoever takes it will put it somewhere pride and place so we can get some pictures of them with it.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Forget traveling the world. Leo has touched that many. But the big thing. Oh no!
Whoa!
I didn't do anything. No, I didn't do anything.
No! Press that button.
Oh no! I'm gonna skip twice. Pledge manager's open. There's nothing to say.
What is this?
Oh, I forgot that was in there. Oh, I genuinely forgot that was right there. So Leo has said that we have been thinking. We had a huge amount of support for Reichbusters.
Yeah.
Before we even opened the Kickstarter, we had people excited about this game.
Yeah.
The initial art, the initial sculpts, the initial conversations, the live streams we did on Board Game Geek, come to see you guys. The reaction was amazing. We knew straight away that there was a world that people were going to get into. Yeah. So as soon as the Kickstarter sort of finished, we were straight on to Catalan and to Guillem, our artist, and said, look, we need to start thinking about where this is going to go. This is one of our first real concept teaser images for where the next campaign after the current Reichbusters storyline could go to. I don't
because the campaign tells you a story.
Of course.
So when you play the full campaign from the first season, it will lead you somewhere. And where will you go after that?
Yeah. Possibly to this frozen Nazi base built into a glacier with Nazi flying saucers. Thanks, Lee.
I don't think we need to say any more. Yeah.
No, thanks for that, Az.
I totally forgot that was right there at the end.
So it will be very different, obviously.
We would love to keep growing the Reichbusters universe, and I think the great thing is if you just jump in, grab the core box, you've got a full campaign story. If you play with O'Reilly, he comes with his own mission. Project X come with his own missions. Not of this Earth come with an extra set of off this planet missions where you leave Earth and you're going through the Vril portal to deal with two alien races who are working against the Nazis and against the Vril Meisters. And that all forms one nice coherent campaign, no matter what way you decide to play it. And we really have 101 ideas for where we want to take it. So this was just the very first image that we've done.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I'll give everyone one last quick look at that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's not. I'll say right now. It's not Hoth. It's not Hoth. So yeah, if you're into it, please come and support us. Even if you're not, come and share your thoughts on the video. It means the world to us. So for us, the Pledge Manager is an opportunity for us to do more Let's Play, share more of the game, come and chat to you with guys. It's kind of like a second little mini campaign, and it'll be open for a couple of months for any existing backers or new backers to come along and get involved.
Very cool. Well, guys, thank you very much for coming in. I always love sitting down to chat to you about the games you guys make. Everybody, get those comments in below on Beast4, on YouTube, on Facebook. If you want your chance to win a copy of Sarge, come across to beast4.com/on.
There's only one, Sarge. There's only one. Only one of you.
Come across to the main website, create a free account, get your comments in below. We'll move on. We'll see you again soon.